Happy Saturday, everybody. Happy Saturday. Yes, that was my first question for y'all coming up. Please put in the chat where you are joining in from. Hey, Miss Terry. I see Rhonda,
Hey,
Sheila,
good
Monica,
morning.
Mo. Is that you, girl? Is that
Good morning. It's me in Walmart.
you? Hey, Denise. Renza. Who else we got? Francis. Francis is new. Hey, Nikki. Baton Rouge. Yes. I have people that are near and dear to my heart that are from Baton Rouge. The Potter family. The Potter family. Lakita. Hey, Shawana. Shawana, did you get my emails yesterday? I always have to stop and do this correct. Patricia.
Good
Patricia.
morning, everybody.
Hey. Let's see. We got Gwen. Let's see. Shawana's from Tampa. Kind of on the other side of creation for me. Feels like 700 miles. Atlanta, oh my gosh. And the crazy thing is, I'm a Chi-Town girl living in Atlanta, but I used to drive, across town, from Chicago to Indiana until I moved to Indiana, and things like that. And I just feel like in Georgia, it's different. It's different. I don't know why it's different. It's different. It's wow. Dayton, Ohio. Yes, I feel the same way when I have to travel up your way. Yes, because from Mississippi, my son lives in Jackson for the last like almost 8 years, for the last almost 8 years now since he graduated from Jackson State. My I am a I love, oh, she said I'm from Jackson. Yay. Canton, yes. I am a the I love supporter. Well, my bank account was, yeah. um, Prospect, Texas is near where? Is near where, Tabitha? Northeast Georgia. Buford. Okay. Okay. Buford. Yes. Graduated from Jackson State. Yay. I think my son is going back for his master's. Oh, New York. Yay. Miss Houston. Y'all coming out in today. I am excited. To get started, we give people a few minutes to come in. I just sent out a reminder message. So, doing that, and I'm gonna stick my head out for 1 second because y'all know how y'all have to tell y'all people, y'all know I got something to do today, and I should hear y'all. So, give me 1 second. These grands and the husband. One moment. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm back. Let's see, guys. Hey, Paris. Missouri. Oh, St. Pete. You said you was near St. Louis, oh, Ross, right? You near St. Louis. I could not drink coffee today. Um, I had some Benadryl. It's been a few days now on Sunday, and that stuff gave me the jitters. So I'm like, I gotta chill for a second. I haven't had Benadryl in years, and it had me. It's supposed to make you sleepy, but yeah, gave me the jitters. Okay. Get ready to get my screen up. If you have people that you invited and you don't see them in the room, make sure that you go ahead and invite them so we can get started. Okay. We are going to get started in a few minutes. Want to get my screens together.
Excuse me, Dacia, is I think I saw that it was being recorded, correct?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I record everyone. Okay, just in case. Okay, let's see who we have now that I did not speak to. If you are new, we are putting where we're from in the chat. If you are new, you've never attended any trainings, you've never been on a Tuesday night CEO chat, you don't even know who I am, put a one in the chat. A one in the chat. South Carolina, yes. Is it Shantae? Shantae? Let me see. Shantae. Okay, cool. Francis, welcome in. Felicia, why I feel like I know you? Why I feel like first time anyone has said it right that didn't know me. Yes, see, I take pride in trying to figure out the correct way to say people's name because as you can see, my name, my grandparents did not say my name correct my whole life. I was always Dacia, and that is not my name. Okay. But that's what my grandparents called me my entire life. And I've been Darcia. I don't know how. There's no R. Stacy, Tracy, and the one that's really close to my name, but that drives me crazy, the craziest, Dacia. I don't know why, because it's like they like draw it out. And I'm like, that is not my name. Okay. That's not it. Dacia is not it. It's Dacia. I've been on some calls, but still learning. Yeah. So welcome back. And she is from Charlotte. Um, so my family and I are going to take a trip to Charlotte um early next year when it gets a little warmer. I know y'all don't get like really cold. My family, my immediate family, my husband and my daughter and grandchildren moved to Georgia almost 4 years ago. And I told my family to come, my mother, my sister, her husband, my nieces and nephew. And they were like, we don't really want to go to Georgia. And so we decided to let's come in the middle and figure out a place. And so we're thinking Charlotte. So we're going to go visit Charlotte and see if we're all going to go there and all move together to Charlotte. Um, hey girl, she said she's from New York and she's living in Colorado Springs. Were you in Texas for a minute, Aisha? Or do I not remember that right? Do I remember that right? I thought you were in Texas for a minute too. But I'm moving to Texas. Oh, got it. I'm like, I know I remember something about Texas. Um, and we are going to start. Let me make sure my screen before I share my screen. Yeah, I know you have to get everything right before you share, or it'll have everything moving slow. Okay. Thumbs up if you can see my screen. I need to click on so I can see the chat still. Move it to the side. Thumbs up if you can see my screen. Cool, 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 cool. So we've already started with what city are you from? But today I am here and I want to talk about the topic, the CEO math. I realize not just hey Angela from Homewood, not just that so many travel CEOs don't know their numbers, but don't even know how to create the numbers that make sense. Because just because we price things, we also have to remember at the back end, not only do we have to make a profit, it has to make sense. Because at the end of the day, you still have overhead, right? Because how many people have Travel Joy, Keep, Flow Desk, Active Campaign, MailChimp, all of these different platforms that we have to pay for, and we're not considering those things when we begin to price out our packages. right? And then you get, oh, and let's not forget the main one that the majority of you guys leave out, merchant fees. Merchant fees, y'all, because if you say, okay, your package is $21.99 and you ain't added those merchant fees, you about to be short. You're about to be short on the back end. So I wanted to come and kind of give you all an overview of what CEO math looks like. Because when I say CEO math, I'm not talking about necessarily the cost of the trip, but what it looks like to be a CEO. Because at the end of the day, after profits, you still have overhead and you still have to make sure that those things are covered, or you will never be able to scale to upper 6 and 7 figures. You will not if you are not covering those things. How many people right now don't have a team but want one? You don't have a team, but you want one. Put a 2 in the chat. You don't have a team, but you want one. Okay? Because let me just tell you and be honest with you. To get to that high 6 and 7 figure, you will not be able to do that without a team. Ask me how I know. Okay? You will not be able to scale to that level without a team. Well, if you're not adding that into your pricing, you'll never have a team. Okay? So, again, we talked about what city you're from. We're all from all over the place, and I am so glad you all are here. To the newbies, I am Dacia. I am the travel industry disruptor, the coach behind the Booked and Banked 3P system, and I empower travel CEOs to go from overwhelmed and underbooked to scaling their travel business with strategies, systems, and confidence. So, welcome to the newbies. Most of you guys have been around for quite some time. So, welcome back to the community. And just a little bit about me. I owned a multi-7 figure travel business for almost 10 years. Last year, October, after some um, back end things that went on, I made the difficult decision to close my travel business. Started in 20, well, actually started in the industry before I actually started Ladies and Luggage. So 2013, I started in the travel industry, opened Ladies and Luggage in 2015. And yeah, in 2020, probably 2024 early, I started seeing signs after my business partner of 8 years decided to leave the company. I just could not, I couldn't come back from the things I didn't know. So I don't know how many people have business partners, but did we have a operations agreement? We did. A partnership agreement? We did. But I was the front of the house. I did all of the bringing in all of the clients, all of those things, and she was back of the house. And there were so many things that I took my hands and eyes away from that I could not, when she left, bring back. Okay, so even after closing, guys, it was a hard 210 days. Because let me tell you, of those 210, 90 of them I cried every day. Do you hear me? Every day. My husband was sick of me. He was sick of me. But I've always known since the beginning, and some people like Vicky was in our first host agency. I think Rhonda is still here. If you still hear Rhonda, I think I saw Kiara just come in. I started off in 2016 and I opened the host agency. So I've always loved teaching other travel professionals, even when I ain't know a whole lot. Okay, even when I didn't know a whole lot, um, I was passionate about teaching others. And then 2019 opened up another host agency. Some of you guys are here from that season. And so God was like, you're not done, because y'all, I was ready to be, that's it. I can't do this no more. And Paris said, you've always been a great, thank you, Paris. And God said, this is you are a teacher, and I am a teacher at heart. I've taught students. Some of you know already that I owned 4 daycares in the Chicagoland area for 14 years before and during when I first started the travel business. And so, yes, a teacher at heart. So here I am wanting to make sure that number one, the missteps that pushed me to close ladies and luggage that you all don't make. Okay. And to make sure that you know that you see this, we ain't hustling no more. We're not hustling no more. We are CEOs, and I want to make sure you guys know the pathway to get there. Okay. All right. So this is where we stop winging it and start building real wealth. Because again, you're not going to get to that level in your business without having those numbers make sense. How many people here already have a 2025 goal set? You know where you are. You know where you want to be. You know right now today how many passengers have traveled with you this year, and you know like, oh, I need to pivot a little bit because I'm not near my goal, and I need to make some adjustments. Anybody? Monica says yes. Anybody else? Okay, we changing that for next year because you cannot know where you need to go if you don't know where you at. Right? So if you say, so let's just go think about 2026. If you say, okay, I want to make $200,000, now where I want to be. Okay, Gwen. So if you say I want to make $200,000, is that really what you need to make? How many passengers, how many clients did you have this year and you made 100,000 or you made 75,000? So knowing your numbers is imperative, guys. So we're definitely going to get to where I am going to have a she said, not where I should be. Okay, Mo, we getting you there, Mo. We getting you there. We are going to have an annual planning lab coming up soon in October. Okay, an annual planning lab because we should be planning for our following year before the end of this year. Okay, so you can know what you need to be doing. All right. So we want to make sure that we are not winging it anymore and we're building real wealth, the kind of wealth that makes sense on paper and in your bank account. Because don't let people make you feel like making money in this industry is taboo. Because anybody still have a 9 to 5? Anybody still have a 9 to 5? Me, anybody still have a 9 to 5? So when you go there to work, is it taboo for you to get paid? Like is it embarrassing for you to get paid when you go to your 9 to 5? Mm-mm. So when you come off your 9 to 5, or before you go to your 9 to 5, and you didn't put in 2, 3, 5, 10 hours in your travel business, and then people in your inbox or your comments or your email like, oh, that's a lot. I don't come to your job and tell you how much they should be paying you. Don't come to my job telling me how much. Don't do it. So don't be embarrassed. Oh, hold on, Pierce. Don't be embarrassed about what you are charging. Hold on, Pierce. Yeah, I think it's gonna take away me being able to see the chat though. It is. That's why I had it like that, Paris. I'm sorry. Then I won't be able to see the chat if I make it big. All right. So here's what you guys will walk away with today. The profit vehicle. Why group trips are still the most powerful revenue model. How many people still do FITs? FITs. Where are my FIT people? Me, FITs. So, not saying FITs is wrong, that you shouldn't do them, because definitely I did. But here's the thing. When we think about the math and we think about scaling, Let's just go. We're gonna go Miss Terry's example again. We're gonna go with her example again. Me, but only for existing clients. Okay, I do, but moving fast to groups only. Exactly. So let's think about it. If we are looking to scale our business, and now we're talking profits, right? We're talking profits. We're looking to scale our business, and we want to make sure that we have $80,000 a year in profitability, right? If we are doing FITs and we're going to send a client to Vegas, and then they're going to send us a commission for $30, how many clients do you got to have at $30, at $100, at $125 in order to reach that 70,000? It's a lot harder, not that it can't be done, to reach a um a profit level that will get you your 9 to 5, which I know a lot of you who have 9 to 5s are looking to do. Am I correct? Am I correct in saying this? So it's a lot harder to reach that level of profitability doing FITs. In your group, and she says, I add a little bit of markup to my FITs. Absolutely. You should mark up anyways. And listen, what I do also want you guys to know that commission and markup ain't the same. We are not counting commission. It can be on your bottom line as far as profits are concerned, but those things change. Then it's different. This vendor may have 10% because of your relationship or with your host agency. This vendor may have 15. We need to make sure that our numbers are what they are because what we make them, so that we can have a clear vision of where we're headed. And so we don't count commission when we're doing our bottom line numbers. Okay, we don't count commission. And then sometimes you have vendors where you can do net profitability. Okay, but the group travel is the most sustainable when it comes to revenue and profits in the travel space. Okay, how to price with confidence, even if you hate numbers. Okay, and then we'll talk a little bit about how to launch with clarity and not burnout, even if you struggle before. Because let me tell you, without a shadow of a doubt, if you are not clear, your clients are not clear. Your potential clients are not clear. So before any of these things happen, you have to have clarity on who your clients are and how to address them. That is how you begin to build that know, like, and trust factor that begins to have you to scale your business. Okay, so having that clarity is imperative. Any questions so far? Okay, so back in 2020, of course, we all knew, we know COVID. COVID hit us like dead in the chest with a Hulk punch. Okay, it hit the world hard, but the travel industry, I feel like we got hit much harder. So in that season, I had to begin to figure out ways to not only retain the people that we had in our community. Okay, at that time, we probably had about 2,700 people in our Facebook group when we got to 2020. And so I started coming up with ideas and things to do to build that community during that time, because we did not want to lose the momentum that I felt like we had begun to get right before that in like 2019. So I didn't want to lose the momentum. So I started doing things. I started having virtual events. I had a therapist to come on and talk about coping with COVID and coping, in that season. I had chefs come on and we did virtual cooking classes. I did virtual happy hours. I would have I still call her my resident DJ, DJ Red, to come on and do an hour music set where we would come on with our drinks. We couldn't really talk, but it was like a dance party, a whole happy hour, virtually. And having guests come on and just begin to really get used to and comfortable with this virtual world, Zoom, Facebook Live, and things like that. I started running an ad that I call an evergreen ad that I talk about frequently. I started an evergreen ad that brought people, it collected their emails, and then on the back end, it invited them to our Facebook group. And so that was March. That started really started in April because I was stuck on what we now call the COVID cruise in March. And so April, I started doing these things, right? And so from April 2020 through October 2021, so a little bit over a year, our community grew expeditiously from around 25 to 2,700 people to over 20,000. And it was because of the things that I started doing and the evergreen ad. Okay. So we'll get to that in other courses, but that evergreen ad really new community engagement, nurture, training, because mine is cricket. Yes, yes. So building that community in that amount of time quickly, and then I got a coach. I started watching my coach. He was doing something called webinars, which we're doing today. And I was like, well, how can I create something like this for the travel space? Because nothing of this nature, doing webinars and all this kind of stuff in the travel industry, was not something that we did. We would post and pray, right? Anybody post and pray that people will see our flyers, our cute pictures. Maybe we would talk about the destination, but I decided to figure out how to create something that was similar to what he was doing. And what I came up with is what I now call the 3Ps framework. It is polling, priming, and purchase. But for us, we say polling, priming, and launch. So the prime is launching to get them to purchase. So I created the 3Ps framework. I tested it out in 2021. It was October 2021. I had just joined my coaching program. I told him the idea, and he was like, let's tweak it a little bit. We fixed it. I had some of you know Ryan. He's a social media strategist. I had him to do an ad, and we got over 4,000 people to sign up to come to this launch. I had done a FAM to Jamaica in April of 2021. Visited 35. If y'all know Sean Pierre, if Jamaica Tourist Board, if you're in the Chicagoland area, Sean Pierre wore my feet out. Okay, we went to 35 resorts over 7 days. It was amazing. But at that point, I had thought, me and Jamaica, I was good. I didn't want to go to Jamaica no more. I didn't see anything that I really liked as far as resorts. And then we went to our very last stop. It's the Cliff. It's called The Cliff in the Grill. She said 35 is wow. It was. I told him just last week when I was in Jamaica, I was messaging him. I said, my feet still hurt. I went to the Cliff in the Grill, an absolutely beautiful boutique resort, female owned, and I immediately fell in love. And I was like, oh, now this Jamaica I can do. Okay. I can do this right here. I could do this. And so I stopped at the desk. I talked to the front office manager. I asked her about room rates and things like that. And then in my mind, I was like, so they only have 45 rooms on the resort, 45 rooms total. I said, oh, I could sell that out. I said, well, what would a buyout look? I was at the Cliff with you. Hey, Vanessa. I was like, what would a buyout look like? Okay, what would a buyout look like? And she gave the numbers, and I went to the community. I showed pictures of what it would be, and I said, hey, what y'all think about buying this out? People were like, yes, 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 yes. So I continue to poll. I continue to ask questions. Continue to dig deeper into what would they think about this type of experience. Even though I had already talked to resort and got the numbers, then I started going into that priming phase and like, hey, cliffside chats, the meals are this. It's in the cliffs. It's not, we're near Rick's Cafe, and start giving them, transforming them into this destination. And so then the webinar came. I had already hyped them up. There was a 5-bedroom, we call it the Palatial Estates. There's a 5-bedroom villa that was off to the side. So they were arguing about who was going to get that. Like, which people going to get in this 5-bedroom villa? Who going to get the 4-bedroom villa? Already my VIP clients had first dibs. And so they were already, ready to hit the button and get those villas. So I was priming them, getting them ready to, and getting them excited about the destination. And so when the webinar came, the webinar part, which just like this, I had slides, I had pictures, I had my Jamaica Tourist Board rep come on, I had the hotel front office manager come on. They shared, I shared, I went over. Y'all, I did a 7-day never again after that one. A 7-day webinar going over different aspects of the experience for 7 days, and we sold out in less than 24 hours. But that's because they wanted it, because I asked. Then when I knew exactly what they wanted, I showed them what the transformation would be. And then I came on the back end with the webinar, the launch, and I not only showed them the transformation, but gave them all the details. There were no questions after. Everything was answered. They were ready. They were polled. They were primed, and they were ready to be transformed in that destination. We sold out in less than 24 hours. I had to go back and get a second week. We sold out 2 weeks in the grill because of this 3 P's framework that I created, just off of looking at my coach do webinars. Okay. So before this framework, I saw many agents, including myself. The 3 P's is poll, prime, and purchase. Okay. I saw many, including myself, that were doing a lot of work and not getting paid. You were booking trips, getting groups, not that we did not have groups that were getting booked. We had a 67 person group trip to Jamaica in 2019. We had a constant flow of groups that were going out at a minimum of 16 passengers, but the numbers were still not, at that point, I did not start paying myself, was not able to pay myself until the end of 2021. So from 2015 to 2021, the company was not paying me because the numbers, the numbers didn't make sense where I could get paid. All right. So this framework was born from one mission: to help you and me stop guessing, start scaling, and step fully into CEO role with clarity, confidence, and coins. Because you can't build a business without coins. And I know some people like, oh my God, I don't do ads because of this, or eventually you're going to have to do ads, some type of ads. Eventually you're going to have cash flow, because there's going to be some times, and I think we talked about this on one of our CEO calls, that there's some vendors that may make you pay a deposit up front even before you get one client. Y'all, when you begin to scale and you begin to know, there are going to be times when they're going to say, I need $10,000 to hold this, and you haven't booked not one person. And so where that money is going to come from? You're going to have some type of cash flow. So at some point, when you are ready to scale your business or you are in the process of scaling, you're going to have to do the OPP, other people's money, right? You're going to have other people's money. I'm sorry. And I know some of y'all like, but it's going to have to be that way. I'm telling you, in order to scale. Again, I'm Dacia, the seven-figure travel CEO. I've hosted hundreds of group trips across the globe. Right now, I think we were at 48 countries when I closed last year. A faith-filled strategist who turn hustle into legacy. And here's one of my biggest things. You don't need to hustle harder. You need a smarter profit plan. Okay? You need a smarter plan because we ain't hustling. Hustling is a lot. Being a CEO is a lot all in itself. But hustling make it even harder. Okay? So why this model is the opportunity is predictable income. Because when you can see the numbers, you can predict where you're going to be at the end of the year. If you just winging it and you like, oh, well, I want to make like 100,000 this year, and you've written nothing down, how are you going to do that? What's the plan to get there? Like, how many passengers, how many people are you going to have to book to reach $100,000 in sales? And now we're talking about 100,000 in revenue and sales. That ain't commission. And if we even go to the bottom line and we say, okay, $100,000. If a vendor pays me 10%, that's 10,000. How many of us can quit our 9 to 5 for $10,000 annual profits? And if you're counting that commission as your profits and it's $10,000 for the year, you still have paid for none of your platforms. None. You still ain't paid a VA to help you with no email sequences. You still ain't paid for Travel Joy, no email platform, nothing out of that $10,000. So that's quickly dwindling down to zero. Okay? So predictable income, predictable, so you can see what those numbers are. You set the pricing, you know the numbers. Built-in demand. People want curated experiences now more than ever. How many people know some trending spots that maybe your community are looking for? Tell me in the comments some trending spots that you know people are ready to travel to. And that they will pay, and let's even say that they will pay top dollar to go. Napa, for sure. Bali, Bali. Yep. So there are so many destinations. And I had someone tell me recently, like, and now there may be people here who are open to selling to everybody. Okay? Open to selling to everybody. But I implore you to get niche down. Get niche down. Know who your ideal client is and sell exclusively to those people. So I recently had someone to tell me, well, this lady told me that she took 20 people to Thailand for 10 days for $2,000. And I was able to clearly, 10 toes down, tell her a person who traveled with ladies and luggage never would have booked a $2,000 10-day Thailand trip because that says cheap, that says bootleg, that says not a luxury buses, none of that. Nobody who books with ladies and luggage, who traveled with ladies and luggage, would have ever booked that type of trip because it did not say. And I told we was bougetto. I tell y'all, we bougetto. We wasn't straight bougie, but we were bougetto. But when we left outside of this country, we were bougie. We were not staying at a hotel or a resort that would say 10 days for $2,000. They just would not have booked it. It would have not sold. Now, are there agents who can sell that? Clearly. but that wasn't my client. And if you know your client, you'll know exactly, you'll be able to curate the experiences that they are looking for. Okay. So built in demand. And then profit at scale. Package once, sell multiple spots, increase per trip return on investment. So what does that mean? So there were always things in my packages that were standard. We were always having a welcome event. We were always having a farewell event. And depending on location, especially if we did Mexico and the Caribbean, there was always going to be, I started using um, cruise. I started saying the sunset cruise instead of saying yacht party. Because y'all know y'all people. You say yacht, they be like, this ain't no yacht. That was a catamaran cruise. I started saying sunset cruise or whatever type of cruise. So it didn't matter what type of vessel we got on. Okay. So those things were standard in my packages. And so there was a set price that I put for those, no matter what the trip was. And I would negotiate with vendors and say, hey, this is my price point for this type of event. Some locations that would be transportation things to be included like that too. But having a to package once, but having the same multiple things every time. Okay. You can sell multiple trips at one time as well. Because when you begin to build your ecosystem or your client base, everybody can't go to the same, everybody don't want to go to all destinations, number one. Everybody can't go at the same time, number two. And then it's different strokes for different folks. Some people like, I've been to Mexico and the Caribbean this many times. I don't want to go back. I want to go someplace I've never been before. And that is absolutely what also helps you to build these is the polling, because you're asking them what they want. How many of y'all book trips based on what you want? I want to go to Jamaica, so I'm gonna put out a Jamaica trip. If you don't want to say it out loud, you have to. If you don't want to say it out loud, you don't have to. But if you want, I poll. Okay. Anybody has done that? Oh, you know what? It's my 40th birthday. I'm gonna do a 40th birthday trip to Jamaica. I did initially. Monique said I did. Most that I did initially. Y'all, especially number one, if you don't have clarity about your community, you go in that community and you say, hey y'all, join me on my 40th birthday trip to Cabo. They're like, girl, I know you. I am not about to go to Cabo with you for your 40th birthday. What are we talking about? Okay. They're not interested in that. They're not. Yes, initially to get going, I have hard time deciding dates. I did when I started 8 years ago. So people are not interested in it. Now, maybe you'll have a few once you begin to get that know, like, and trust built up. But initially, your 40th birthday don't mean nothing to those people. It means nothing to them. I personally, I never, and I told y'all before, don't try to take my black card. I never had any interest in South Africa. I just did not. And so I never put it on, I never put it on the calendar. I never even thought about it being a destination. I just never did. And so I'm just like, people was like, what you gonna go, when is South Africa? What's South Africa? South Africa, South Africa. And I'm like, eh. And so I was like, okay, let me just do a poll. And the poll was like, I was like, oh, I guess it's just me. It's just me. And when I offered it, it sold out. Once I polled it, she said that's how I feel about Dubai. But Dubai is a trending destination. You don't want to go, but I bet you put a poll out to see. I'm telling you, people, I just had someone to reach out to me yesterday. I put a 50th birthday Dubai trip for her friend 2 years ago, and now she wants to do one for herself. She's like, because we had such an amazing time. Dubai is, it's trending. It is a trending destination for sure. Okay. So just because you don't want to, or just because you do want to, that has nothing to do with your client. So get that polling done. and see what your audience is actually looking for and not you. Okay. So let's go, and I'm going to show you guys. I have to stop sharing so I can show you the screen, and then I'm going to check. So let me stop sharing. Any questions so far? Yes, any questions so far? You can raise your hand, or you can put it in the chat.
Aisha had a question.
Go ahead, Aisha.
It's in the chat. She put it in the chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. For those with a 9 to 5, how many international group trips should we realistically plan for during our annual planning? Right now, I'm at a 4 international and 5 domestic French series for 2026. So that's a good question. So here's the thing. And I know this may be for someone like Aisha that's been in the business for a while. If you, during your polling stage, you see that there's some destinations that you may need to add or want to add based on the responses from your community, and you need to add more, you have people in your community that you can maybe get to host for you. So don't really say like, oh, I can only do this amount because I can't host. But you can maybe get someone in your community to host for you based on your level of comfortability and or trust with those people who've traveled with you over the last 9 years. You can get somebody to do that. I can guarantee you, if you got 2 people in your community that can do 2 destinations for you because you want to add 4 more, I could bet you, and they have the time, they ain't gonna say no to a free trip. I can tell you that. They're not gonna say no to a free trip. So if you need to, and you see the need, and you see the desire for the people to do this, then I would say look into that option before you decide, well, I can only do you know, this amount based on my availability. I did 2 or 3 depending on my vacation. I also had a VIP host for me. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, getting that host. At what point in the poll do you look for in deciding to move forward with the trip? So that's like a tricky question. Because for me personally, 9 times out of 10, I already know what's going on. It's going on the calendar. When I start my polling, it's already in my mind that we are going to do XYZ trips this year. And what I'm doing now is deciding if I need to take this particular trip off of the list. Right? If I need to take this, because y'all, I'm gonna tell you what, don't feel bad. I've had trips that I put on the website. The polling went well and all of that went well, and we put it on the website, and then we didn't get any hooks in. It magically disappeared. Hey, it is okay to have to take a trip away. It is okay to have to cancel a trip. I teach also how to, like, I know that contracts are the best way, especially when you're doing groups. Now, if you have smaller groups, you can do the what do they call it? The flex groups and things like that. Only reason I don't like flex groups is because now you have to tell this person is paying 2,000 and this person is paying 2,100, and then next week this person might be paying 1,800 or whatever the case may be, and so that makes things a little bit difficult. There's not a set price, but when you're doing a contract, I have learned to hold them off. I've learned how to hold them vendors off for a little bit until I can really see and gauge. Oh yeah. I'll be able to sell this out. I have 5 people now. I need to have 10 rooms. I got 5 rooms now. Oh yeah, I can definitely book 5 more rooms, and then let me go ahead and sign this contract because they've been emailing me for the last 3 weeks about it, right? But you can always ask the vendor, like, hey, can you give me a little bit more time? I need another week, or whatever you need to do to kind of hold them off. So, but yeah, I already know when I begin my polling what I want to have on the calendar. And if I see where that interest is not there, it's removed and I move on to the next one. Don't spend a lot of time, especially, well, I'll put it like this. If you do not currently, how many people currently do not have an audience? You're trying to build your audience. How many people currently don't have an audience and you're trying to build an audience? In that case, Yes. In that case, um, you may need to begin more of a campaign of sorts to get more people in your ecosystem. I'm trying to build outside my circle. Absolutely, you got to build outside your circle. Because my family, no, don't ask me to book you nothing. You can book your own everything. Mama, cousin, sister, brother. I'm not booking nobody's nothing because they don't want to book with you no way. They want your discount. They want your no, book your own stuff. No, thank you. Um, but building that community is what you need because now do you need 1 million people? I told you guys we were getting 16 to 20 people. Had trips where we had 40 and 50 people, 60 people before we got to 20,000. Before we got to 20,000. It's all about your strategy. You have to have a strategy, okay? But building that community and polling at the same time. And I know some people get frustrated because they like, well, I didn't put the poll and I didn't did live and I didn't did this and I'm not getting any traction. Well, how long did it take you to decide to switch from Verizon to T-Mobile? How long did it take you to decide, I don't like Aldi, I like Publix, and then you like, well, let me try all this. Like how long it takes people a while to make decisions like that. It's 5 to 7 touch points before someone, especially you have a trip, you're going to Ghana and you like $39.99. If you go and you see a bag that you like, oh, this bag is amazing. I really love this bag. I really want it. And you click it and it's like a $2,000 purse. Now, wait a doggone minute. Let me think about this for a minute. That's the same thing, as your person who's looking to spend almost $4,000 on a trip. They have to be able to know, like, and trust you. They want to make sure that you're consistent. They want to make sure that it is the value that they're looking for. This is the community that they're looking for. And so it may take them a while. I've had people to walk up to me. There was a lady a couple of years ago. We were visiting Uncle Nearest. We were on a group trip and we were touring Uncle Nearest. And I was just on a phone call. And she was like, oh my God, I follow you on Facebook. And I was like, oh, hey. She was like, I've been following for years, but I've never commented. I've never liked. That's how people are. But she knew who I was. So I know for certain that she's been paying attention and that she's been watching the videos and things like that because she knew me. So don't think that people are not watching and then you stop. Because if you stop, then now what they're gonna watch? What they gonna watch now? What's gonna happen now that you stop? Now they're like, oh, is she really booking trips? Is what's going on? I haven't seen her in months. I haven't seen her. You got an email list that you think, oh, I only got 20 people on my email list, so I'm not going to email nobody. Why? How do they know you still doing in business? How do they know what's going on? Have a transparent conversation. Like, hey, y'all, so if you out and I know I see Katrina and she's like, this is one thing I'm going to tell you. This is, if I don't remember exact words of all of the things that my coach taught me, the one thing that he said that has stuck with me and always stick with me, and it is the truth. Your business don't care nothing about your problems, what you got going on in life. It don't care your puppy passed away. It don't care about none of that because it still has to move forward. I was telling them yesterday, we did a pop-up call. Yesterday. And I told them like this last week has been bananas. Like I learned on Monday that my father has his cancer is now terminal. Can I stop? Was I going to cancel this? No, like the business has to go forward. So it don't care nothing about what you got going on. Okay. So we got to get through that. And I know sometimes it's hard. You're like, oh my God. You have to continue to move forward because if you don't, people are going to think you're no longer in business. They're going to find, guess what? You're going to be like, did she go on a trip with me? And you see on a picture in another group that you follow. Yep, she did, because she ain't heard from you in 7 months. She sure did. She booked over there because she ain't heard from you in 7 months. That's why. You can't stop. You have to keep going. And I know it can be hard sometimes. I know it's like, I just need to lay down. Y'all, I did it. I was the person when I closed Ladies and Luggage. Right before that, I took a sabbatical from teaching. Y'all know, y'all was in the community. I took a sabbatical from teaching agents. And after I closed Ladies and Luggage, baby, I was a turtle. I went into the shell. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to see nobody. I don't want to talk about no travel. I don't, And I was even to being very transparent. I was nervous, scared to even come back. I was nervous and scared to come back. But guess what? You dust yourself off. I'm like, God, you told me to do this. Now I'm doing what you told me to do. Scared and all, nervous and all. But that's what we have to do. Dust off those email people. Dust them off. Get a re-engagement campaign going. Don't just sit and say, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. 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 No. I should say I took a sabbatical after my mom passed. I'm just getting back in the swing of things. Welcome back, girl. Terry said that's what happened when my mom passed. I just didn't want to do this anymore. Yes. And it makes you feel like, am I even supposed to be here? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? God, is this your purpose for me? Like, what is really happening? Okay. But you have to get back into the swing of things, or you're going to be continuing to see your clients. Hello, okay? You're going to continue to see your clients on another travel group page because they got tired of waiting. And guess what? If you're going through something that's making you have a pause, be transparent. All y'all know I'm the live girl. And if you're not live, get your phone, record it. Be like, hey, y'all, it's Dacia. So listen, this is going on, blah, 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 and post it in your group. Put it in the email. If you okay with going live, go live. You don't got to tell them all your business. I tell y'all all the time, I'm strategic about what I do. Very strategic. I take my walk. I might record a video, but you better know you ain't gonna see a house number, a street sign, or nothing. It's strategic. You can tell them exactly what you want them to know about what's going on, but you have to be consistent and persistent. Okay. All right. So let me show y'all this. Make sure it's on my screen first. And give y'all an idea of how these numbers should be looking. Okay. Can y'all see my screen? Here, so how long have I been hearing this? Sierra, don't want me to tell your business. Okay? Y'all can see my screen? Okay. So this is something I just had someone to create for me because my accountant had something similar to this that we have to complete every month. And once I created the 3 piece framework, I was like, we've been looking for something like this since 2015. Okay. So what this does, my accountant wanted us to be able to clearly see our numbers at all times. Okay. So what this is a spreadsheet where I come in and I can put, as you can see right here, the budget. So budget is what you project. So you could even put this down as hold on, Aisha. Yeah, you can put down, so you can just even have this as projection. Okay. So what your projected number of people is going to be. I put down what the cost of what we are going to charge our clients per person. What our markup is per person, what I'm going to charge for event, group event, group lunch, luau, transportation. These are all actuals. These are all actuals. And if you scroll down, you will see what the budget is per person, right? After all of these things are added. This is the per person cost, and it'll even tell you at the top, this merchant fee is, I put it at 5%. Because again, y'all, if it's one thing that I know that most agents miss, even when you're booking, if you are charging them through Travel Joy, sending them an invoice through Travel Joy, and Travel Joy uses Stripe, Stripe fee is 2.99%. And then if you do a payment plan for them, that's an additional 1%. So you're at 4% already, right? And if you don't add that to the cost of what you tell them, you're going to be short 4% at the end. And where that money coming from? Out your pocket and or out of your commission, which may be too little too late, depending on the vendor, because if you got to pay the vendor 10,000 and you short 4% and you got to pay the vendor today, you ain't getting no commission today. So we have to make sure that we're adding that merchant fee. It is imperative. Okay. So it shows what the merchant fee totals are going to be. And this number, no, the profit, you have to subtract this merchant fee from that because it's still calculated in there. But it will tell you everything you need to know. This is how much it is. I'm able to add whatever the name of the hotel, whatever my expenses are, and this is all budget. Then when we go to actual, once your trip is over, you come to actual and you put what the actual expenses are. Okay? So if these were the actual expenses, then our numbers are correct. But I've had times when I put those actual expenses because guess what? Y'all want to be real fancy and we want to give these welcome boxes, and then we're gonna take them on we're gonna we didn't add on. You got a group trip, you hosted it. Who paid for you to go? Who paid for you to go? You. That's an expense. So now that's going to take this number up. So now that's going to start taking you into the negative. That's going to start taking you into the negative. So if we're doing this beforehand and we are seeing what it's going to look like, we are planning out our year and we can see beforehand what everything's going to look like. We're like, okay, so after I do my profit's going to be like 20 something $1,000. Okay, so that's one trip. So then the next trip, okay, so that's going to be like 10,000 in profits. Okay, so that's 30,000 for the year. And you can begin to see beforehand what your year is going to look like, what your year can look like, and you're not winging it. We can't wing it, y'all. Because if you start at the end of the year, you come back and you got all these numbers and you give it to your account and they like, girl, you in the hole 70,000. And you like, that's why I've been eating ramen noodles. Cause what? So we have to know our numbers. And me and the developer have been going back and forth, and the people who took the accelerator have access to this. And I'm like, this got to be ironclad, sir. This has to be together. And so all you have to do is the template, just copy it and go to the next one. I would have a different one of these for every year. So each year I will copy it and then do it for the next year because we gotta know our numbers. And as you can see, you can just put in, if I put another thing in, let's see what I could put in. A game ticket, for 20 people. Let's say the game ticket is 200. And then you'll see the numbers change of what the per person cost is. Okay? So it'll tell you what the per person cost is. Now you're charging them 30, 45, or no, 40, 45, really, because your markup is in here. Because how many people are afraid of the word markup. Afraid to charge people more because you're afraid that they're gonna go to what y'all say, Expedia and all of these sites, and they're gonna look it up themselves and they're gonna get you know, they're gonna be like, well, I saw it on Expedia. You said $41.99. I saw it on Expedia for 22. How many people are nervous about that? That gives them trepidation. Me. So listen, I know it's way more for certain. Um, do you aim for a minimum profit per person? That's a good question, Vanessa. Me. Denise says me. So here's the thing. We know for a Mexico and a Caribbean, you can't do a whole lot of profitability because yes, there is value, but there's not a whole, it's not as much value as if you were doing a, especially if you have relationships. Now, y'all, relationships are very important. If you have a relationship with a vendor that can give you a Greece trip um, at a great rate, and you know that you can add a $1,000 markup to that, and you see the value, you make sure that your vendor had a welcome dinner, a farewell dinner. In Greece, you can do a sunset cruise. You have some amazing tours. You're making sure that your vendor has luxury, um, air conditioned buses. You're making sure that the hotels are in a great locations, that the hotels are at the star level that your clients expect. So if you're going to a place like Greece, you're looking for a four and 5 star accommodations. You have checked the accommodations that your vendor is giving you. All of the boxes are checked, and you see the value that you can say, I can comfortably add $1,000 to this bottom line number. Yes. Now, Mexico and the Caribbean, again, you can do, of course, you'll have welcome dinners and things like that. But in that case, you have to add it because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be able to find a vendor, a fun jet, or travel impressions that will add those type of things. No. So then you have to begin to add those things on your own. So as far as a minimum, I would kind of say for me, Mexico and the Caribbean minimum is like 500, and then minimum for international is 1,000. If you're doing domestic travel, it really depends again on the experience, but I would definitely still say maybe about 500 because you have to make sure your expenses are included. If you and or a host that you're sending. If not, you're taking that at your bottom line, right? You're taking that out of your bottom line. Um, but you have to make sure that all of your expenses are covered. If you're going to be marketing this trip, if you're going to run ads to this particular trip, you need to put an ad budget in here as far as an expense and add that to the bottom line. You have to think about all of those things because they're all at the end of the day are going to be calculated either now or later. And now, if you're calculating them now, you can add that number to the bottom line. Later, it's going to put you in a deficit. Okay. And I wanted to go over, like, let's just go over we'll do a pseudo trip. And so let's just go with Ghana. And everybody got your notebook? Everybody got your notebook? Let me see, I'm pull up the whiteboard. Yeah. So we're gonna call this okay. Call this we're gonna call this the Ghana trip, Ghana experience. So, okay. So I was gonna ask if we could do, let's see. You should still be able to do this one, Mo. Okay, so let's say Ghana. And your vendor comes to you and say, hey, the Ghana, I'll charge you 2,500 per person. Not happening, but we just gonna use 25. Okay. Okay. And then you say to yourself, I want to have a welcome event, farewell, um, naming there, well, that we included in there. Let's see what else would you have. Oh, you want to have your welcome box, host fees.
Daisy, are you writing something?
Yes, y'all can see it.
I only see squiggly lines in a box. I don't know if anybody else sees something.
I can see what she's writing, but somebody else, Denise Moore, is writing,
Oh yeah.
making squiggly lines on the.
Green. Okay. Okay. But y'all can see my box though.
Yes.
Okay.
I just see a square. Okay.
Um, let's see. Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to see. Okay. So you know what? Maybe I'll stop sharing this and I'll do it on the calculator. But I'll tell you all the numbers to write. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So I'll pull up my calculator app so y'all can see it. But I'll tell you guys the numbers to put in. Okay. So, can you all see the calculator? Everybody can see the calculator? Okay. So the Ghana trip is $2,500, right? And so we're going to have a welcome event, farewell. Put the chat back up. Okay, welcome, farewell. You're going to have a welcome box or a gift box. You got your host fees, markup, merchant fee. Anybody want to add anything else? Anything else you guys want to add to that? Outside of your welcome, farewell, host fee, your welcome box. Anybody else put in the chat or say group excursion, okay? May want to add a group excursion. Okay. Anything else? Photographer. Okay. So are we bringing the ground transportation will be included? Yep. So are we bringing um the photographer? Or are we going to find someone in destination? In destination. Cool. Okay. So so let's say our welcome event, we're going to charge $85 a person, okay, for our welcome event. So that'll be like a drink and some appetizers. So that's $85 a person. We can find, ask the vendor, about like that. Our farewell event, we wanted to be a little bit more upscale or a little bit more, included. So maybe 125 because maybe we'll have a dinner. Okay. Your welcome box. You got to think about the cost of shipping too. So we'll average maybe $12 for shipping, and then you have trinkets in the box. So we can say, comfortably, let's say $40. Depending on the trip, you may have some customized items in there for that particular event. Okay. So host fee. How do we get to the host fee? So if I'm gonna stop sharing a second so I can show y'all this too. So let's say the vendor's charging $2,500 a person. So we already know that your room or your trip is going to be $2,500. So then what you do, I am the Google Flight girl. Hold on. So then what I do is I go to Google Flights. Let's just say JFK to Ghana. Now, we already know flights are like 320 days out. I typically, let's say I'm going to go in the month of October. Typically, I'll go to October unless October is not available. Then I'll use the dates. If I go from a Tuesday to a Tuesday or whatever the days of the week. So right now, flights is August. So flights should be available through June. Let's see. Let's see if any of July is open. The first part of July is still open. So if I say we're going Tuesday to Tuesday, so we'll do June 2nd through June 9th. I'll look at what I don't know why this thing keeps pushing me to Canada. Hold on 1 second. So I'm teaching, I'll call you back. I'm teaching. So what? I'm teaching, I'll call you back. Okay. All right. So you're looking at average prices. You got Royal Air, Kenya Airways, British Airways, Delta, KLM. So you're looking at average prices. You would want to add maybe minimum 30, but about 45% onto this, especially if it's the following year, because airfare is going to go up. So you like, okay, average is about 1,200. So let me add 30% onto that. And so that'll be your air price, right? So let me go back to the other screen because if I don't stop sharing and then do it, it's not going to show. Okay, so now we got airfare 1,200 plus 30%. So like 1,500 for your air, 1,560 plus the 2,500. Okay, so your cost for your air and your accommodations and tourists is 4,060. If you're saying, I think I'm going to shoot for 16 people. So then you'll divide that cost, 4,060 by 16. So the host cost is $253.75 a person based on 16 people. Okay. So now your markup. This is Ghana. So we already said international, we doing $1,000. So your merchant fee, we'll get that at the end. Let's say group excursion is 100. And if you get a photographer, that's $500. Let's say $500, and you divide that by 16 people. That's $31.25 for the photographer per person. All right. So now we're going to add up all of that. We got 2,500, 85, 125, 40, 253.75, 1,000, 100, and 31.25. That puts you at 41.35 per person. I always added 5%. If you want to add exactly the merchant fee, you can. but I always added 5%. Let me go back to that. Plus 5%. So your merchant fee is $206.75. So that puts you at $43.41.75. So you can put your price at $43.50, 43, you can go Walmart, 43.88, 98. But that is how. Now, as you can see on this, your $1,000 markup, you can decide to say, okay, I'll take my marketing out of there. I'll take, my platform fees and things out of that markup. If you want to say, okay, well, I'm going to do a marketing budget for this trip. I want to make sure I get these 16 people and maybe more. I'm going to spend $500. Then you would add another $31 per person to cover the cost of your marketing. Or you can take it again out of your markup. So that is a bird's eye view on how you should be pricing. You lost me at adding a 31 for marketing. So you got to have, if you say that your marketing budget exclusively for this Ghana trip, you're going to put $500. That would add another $31 per person, unless you're going to take that full $500 out of your markup cost. Does that make sense? Okay. Anybody got questions? Where do you do these operating expenses, like all the back end? Where do you build in those? So, good question. So, it really, it really starts when you do your planning for the year. That's where you really break it down. Because if you're going to be doing your trips like this, which honestly, this is how I started doing my trips in notebooks. Lord help me. I had 750 million of these notebooks. Okay, little papers around the house, everything. It was buck wild till I got my remarkable. But it really starts when you do your annual planning. Because if you say, okay, I'm going to have a marketing budget this year for XYZ amount, then you can strategically say, okay, my marketing budget for this year is let's say 10,000. I'm going to host, I'm trying to do 10 trips this year. And so it's called reverse engineering. So you're going from the back to the front, and then you say, so for each one of these trips, I'm going to have to add an additional $1,000 to go toward the marketing budget. So $1,000 times, if you say you want 20 people for each trip, then that $1,000 divided by those 20 people. But this is another reason that you have to know your numbers, because guess what? If you know that you said you're going to have these 10 trips for the whole year, and each trip is going to be $1,000 for going towards your marketing, and then this trip you only get 16 people, so now your money is short over here. So where is that extra money coming from? But if you don't have your numbers written out, if you don't have this stuff already planned out, you cannot pivot. You cannot say, now I need 4 additional people on another trip to cover that deficit from here, or I need to plan another trip altogether. I need to do a domestic trip. I need to get cash from somewhere. Maybe you have enough people and someone says, hey, do you have t-shirts? And you say, oh, okay. I can get some revenue from some shirts. I can create. But if you don't have your numbers, people, if you don't have your numbers, you can never do that. You're just in the dark because you don't know where you are. You just like, oh, well, just pulling from, you have to know your numbers. You got to know your numbers. Any questions? Okay. And this is the predictable income. This is where you are saying to yourself, I know exactly what my year is going to look like because I already have it down. I'm already ready. Okay. Why most of us agents fail at this? We underprice because we're guessing and we're afraid to charge ad markups. Do you think it's a bad thing that your client pay the merchant fees? No, because whether you, you mean on the front end or, okay, let me ask like this. So I know a lot of the vendors or merchants have it like allow the clients to pay the merchant fees. Is that what you mean, Angela? Okay. So here's my response to that. Okay, how many of us, because I know me, I know I'm one of the people. When you go online and you shopping for something, and then it be like shipping fees $12. You be like, ooh, let me think about it. You'd have put 700 items in the cart, right? And you like, oh, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that, I want that. And then at the end, it's like shipping fees. And you like, I know they land. Let me think about it. Let me think about it. Ain't no free shipping. If another example, a great example. When Southwest told us them bags was free, but we knew all in our mind that they was charging us for them anyways. And now they come back and say we're gonna charge you for the bags, and we saying to ourselves, you should have just kept it. You should have just kept it a secret and just added more money to the doggone cost of the ticket, right? Put it in there because they like, oh, ain't no fees. I like that. No fees. It's added in. It's like, what they call a Jedi mind trick. If they don't see it, they cool with it. But once it's like, client convenience fee, they like, what? A client convenience fee? Right, we paying it anyway. But if them words come up, I agree to the client convenience fee, they might backtrack and be like, let me think about it. But if it's already added in there, they see they're like, oh, okay, cool. Right? The next thing, we confuse commission for actual profits. Is insurance added? So in Travel Joy, you can have them to add it. In like ALG, VAX, and things like that, you can have them added. But when you begin to do groups like this, where you are curating your own group experiences, we just offer it. Unless you are an insurance agent, we're not allowed to use words like we strongly suggest and things like that. But we just offer it. And even with like ALG and things, we cannot make them get it. I know there's some agents who like it's required. I don't know what the deal is with that. Maybe Aisha can shed some light on us with that part. But it was my understanding we are not allowed to make it required. Do you have them sign a waiver? Yes, we do have something that says I'm selecting insurance, I'm going to get insurance or I'm not going to get insurance. And in your terms and conditions, you can put verbiage like, hey, we suggest you purchase travel insurance, but if you don't, you just know X, Y, and Z. But it's my understanding we cannot require it of them. Okay. Another reason most of us fail in this business, we don't have a launch strategy. We posting and praying. We posting and praying. We putting up the pictures, the AI generated pictures, whatever type of pictures there are, we are posting and praying, and we do not have a strategy. You have to have a strategy, okay? 3 P's is a strategy. They don't track margins, which we just talked about. They don't track margins, and we lose money silently because those merchant fees will knock a pause in you. I'm telling you, you will think that you've collected all the money you needed to collect, and you like, well, why am I short $2,000? And how many of us have $2,000 that we can just put back in? $3,000. You have a $10,000 trip. Let's see. Your total cost was $10,000, and then the merchant fees are $299. That's only $300. But when you begin to get, you have a $4,000 trip and you have 20 people, that's 80,000. So the numbers continue. Okay. All right, Terry. Have a good day. The numbers continue to go up. The amounts. So we cannot lose money silently over and over again, every single trip. So we have to make sure. Okay. So that's a whole, oh, she said that's a whole conversation for a different day. Yes, she's talking about the insurance. I told Aisha's the insurance lady. So listen, that's a whole conversation for a different day. Absolutely. Now I will say this though. If you, and I want to say, I think it's 40%, Aisha can correct me if I'm wrong. If you are hosting your groups and you are hosting at least 40% of those groups, you need to make sure that you get a tour operator's rider on your insurance policy. It can be problematic if you do not have it and something happens and you are hosting more than 40% of those trips. I suggest if you're going to host one to even have it. Okay. So whatever carrier you have, contact them and see if they have the tour operator rider for that policy. If not, then you need to find another insurance carrier because you need it. You need it. You need it. You need it. Okay. So the 3Ps framework is built for the travel professionals who have booked trips before, love designing group experiences, and is ready to run your business like a CEO. Yeah, when I saw this shirt, my coach had it. Oh, she said there's no percentage anymore. If you're hosting, you're a tour operator. So, with that being said, if you are hosting, you're a tour operator and you need that rider immediately. Okay, so write that down. She says that Berkshire and Aon are the only tour operator insurance companies for travel agents. Thank you for that information, Aisha. Okay. So why CEO Math works? It's built on a three-piece framework: pull, prime, purchase. We have quite a few of our accelerator members in here, and we did a 90-day challenge where I taught them the framework as well. They are working on it, and yeah, it works. I did it over and over and over and over in my own business. This is rinse and repeat. Once you get this, will you have to tweak? Yes. Well, sometimes you have to take a trip away because the polling just ain't polling. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But when you are polling, they tell you what they want. You create that offer of what they want, and now you are showing them what the transformation can be. And then you come and you launch it properly, and you're giving them all the details of that launch. It is ironclad. It is ironclad. Is it work? Yes. There were times where I was doing webinars weekly, but I also knew the numbers when I was not doing a webinar. I noticed the difference in the bookings. Our average month was about 185,000 in new bookings every single month. If I went and I looked at the numbers and we were at 100,000 for a month, I knew immediately why, because maybe I only did one webinar that month. Or maybe I was like, whew, I'm tired. I'm not doing a webinar this month at all. The numbers reflected that. We can't get weary and well doing. This is an automated system, so you'll need your emails set up. You'll need to have all of these things, all of these automations set up so that when you go to do it again for another trip, or you're relaunching a trip, you have a trip that's already on your books, you want to relaunch it because you got new people in your ecosystem. You can just, copy one automation and tweak it for the dates or whatever. But you may feel like you're always launching, especially in the beginning when you're learning the process. Okay. The framework is taught by me, who created it and did it religiously. If you all follow me in my group, you saw me continuously doing these exact things. If you were on any of my webinars, I did these every month. And another webinar I did start to do, and I was telling the ladies, I started doing a new members orientation. Like, it just getting people comfortable, getting people to know, like, and trust you, and building that trust factor. This poll, prime, and purchase is ironclad. Okay. Any questions? Here are some of our 3P clients. If they want to come on, I think maybe all of them are on here. If y'all want to come on and give your own about the 3P framework that we talked about, if you want to come on, if I can read it. If not, you can raise your hand if you want to come on and say. I think the 3 ladies are here. I think it's we got Brenda, Miss Brenda, Ross, and I'm sure that this is Vicky's too. Nope. Okay. I think this first one was Roz. She said, I learned that my process with Keep must be aligned with the communication I presented to my audience. I must directly speak to the widows without, this is Roz, without including other women groups. So, okay, Roz, I'm going to tell you business a little bit. So I did an audit of her website while we were on in our session, and her audience are widow women. And at the top is, her website is beautiful, has very aesthetically pleasing, and she talked about the widow women at the top. And then right underneath where she said widow women, a paragraph under, she was like, married, single, so-and-so women are also invited. I'm like, ma'am, if you don't take that off of there, because you confusing your people. You tell them widow, and then underneath you say everybody, all the women can come. So how's it still doing that? So we have to get that clarity. We have to be clear with our clients and telling them exactly, exactly who they are. So if there's a widow woman looking for a safe space to travel with women who understand her, then coming in and back and saying all women are invited, that may not make her feel safe. So again, making sure that we have clarity. I think this was Miss Brenda, I'm almost sure. She said, I must have a roadmap in order to grow. The session that stood out to me most was the one that I learned about the 3 Ps, poll, prime, and purchase. That simple framework hit home because it broke down how to move people from curiosity to commitment in a way that feels natural and intentional. And it does, because you're not in this time, you're not being salesy. You're asking them. You're getting their take on what they're looking for, what you want to travel, and then building off of that. So you're really building the exact trip, even though you built it before, right? You're really building the exact trip that they put together, but you gave it to them. Does that make sense? You told them what they was gonna get, and they built it that way. Okay. The activity where we were assigned to price out a specific trip as homework was incredibly eye-opening. It helped me clearly see what I had previously overlooked and what should be factored into my pricing. Because again, those numbers are important. Mo, what you doing, Mo? Why are you scribbling on that? Okay. Um, they were able to see it, and so can you. They left with a clear profit plan for their travel business. I'm trying to see. Hold on, let me see. Get more. Tools to price like a CEO, because they definitely got the spreadsheet. A system that works whether you're brand new or scaling. Remember, we talked about it. You can do the polling and the priming and the launching even when you're starting, but you're also in that process building your client base. Okay. And the clarity and confidence to stop guessing and start growing. So I am opening up my next accelerator, which is going to be September 5th and 6th. It's a Friday and Saturday. Both days will be during the day. Friday will be 9 a.m. This is Central Time, 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. on that Friday. And then Saturday, it's 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The classes are small. I'm only taking 8 people because we absolutely walk away with a full strategy. You have your polls set up for your first launch. So your first launch will be completely strategized before you leave. Okay. So your polls will be set up. You'll know we're going to talk about your clarity. We're going to make sure you're clear on who your audience is. Everything will be set and ready for you to roll before you leave that class on Saturday at 4 o'clock. Okay. The cost of not acting, another launch with no clarity, because nobody is purchasing if you are not clear on who is to be purchasing from you. Okay. You will not be leaving thousands on the table anymore. Can you still do your FITs? Absolutely. Will they add to your bottom line of profitability? Absolutely. But group trips is where the profits and where you will be able to scale your business are. And we are doing those group trips without making sure that we are profitable. Okay. Letting fear of the math block you from your growth. I know that we want to look at this company or this company and see what they're charging. What are people booking their trips? And if I price mine $100 or $200 or $500 less than theirs, maybe people will book my trip instead of theirs. But listen, they don't even have your same client. Their clients are not your clients. So you don't know, you can't predict from that way. You cannot predict based on what someone else is doing in their travel business. They have a whole different client base than you do. So don't allow what someone else is doing to stress you and or keep you in fear from growing your own business. Okay? Staying in the cycle of burnout, guessing, and chaos. Okay? You're not just losing money, you're losing time, peace, and power. Because how many times we gonna start over? How many times we gonna start over? How many times? And I can tell you, I started over so many times. so many times, but we don't have to anymore. Okay, will this work for group trips? I've done this training before. I've done trainings before. Will this really help me profit from my group trips? And I'm telling you, absolutely yes. This process took me from making $190,000 a year to 1.4 million in a matter of a year. 190 a year to 1.4 million, then 2.9 million, then 3.7 million over a 3-year time frame. Over a 3-year time frame. And this is the only process I did in that 3 years. Over and 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 over again. Over and over again. Okay? It's the only thing that I did in my business over and over again to go from 190K. And I became such a numbers girl in this process that when we were going to our first $1 million for the year, I promise you, I felt like a stalker. Like I couldn't stop going to check the numbers because I'm like, I know I just did a webinar yesterday. Let me go see what it's looking like. I did have like open cart dates and then closed cart dates. Not that people couldn't book after the closed cart date, but that was kind of my gauge of how it was going, how the webinar went, how the launch went as a whole. But I only did this process and went from that to millions. What if I can't do this? I'm not a numbers person. I failed before. I just don't get it. You've already been doing the hard part, serving your clients, showing up, but I'll say sometimes. How many people say sometimes? You show up sometimes. Where are my sometimes I show up people? My sometimes I show up, you know, cover your face. My sometimes I show up people. Listen, we got right now, I'm recouping. Yeah, like we have to show up for our people. I'm telling y'all, if you show up for them, they're going to show up for you. If you are consistent and persistent, and again, I know it can be tiring. I know you like, Lord, I'm sick of email sequences. How many more I gotta do? I don't want, like, I gotta go live. I hate going live. I don't like going live. Like, I'm not a live person. Don't do it live. Record it. I'm telling you, record it. I just found a app that on my phone. I have to see what the name of it is, that allows you to have a full teleprompter on your phone, and you can look at the teleprompter and still be looking in the camera, and you record, and it's recording it for you. How easy is that? It's telling you the words to say and everything, and you looking right at your camera, and then you can finish it and post it. You ain't even have to think about the words to say. You can go in ChatGPT, tell ChatGPT the project you're working on and kind of what you wanted to say, and then it can create it. You can, fix it, make it your own, and then upload it to that teleprompter and go on your phone and record it. And then, and you ain't went live yet. Okay? So we already doing it, but let's just start showing up for our people because that's what they're looking for. Okay? I don't have time or money right now. I'm busy. My budget is tight. Maybe later. Next year. You already said, oh, I want to make 100,000 next year. Even though that's low. That's low. I'm telling y'all that's low. Because in group travel, 100,000 a year, again, even if we just take the commission that the vendors were going to give us at the low of 10%, because we already know Marriott is only 7, right? Marriott ain't even 10. So if we just go on the average of a 10%, and you make 100,000 a year and you're only counting on what the vendor gives you, that's only 10,000 for a year. That is not what that no, there's not, we can't even pay, we can hardly pay Travel Joy. We can hardly pay Travel Joy and still pay our bills if we're trying to transition into that. This group trip price accelerator saves you time. That's eating my business expenses. Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly. The group trip price accelerator saves you time and it's going to earn you money. It's going to get the bookings to start coming in. One good launch, one good launch, your ROI will be astronomical. I remember being the most nervous I've ever been when I joined my coaching program. Again, I've been following him online for some years, and then find out that he was the owner of Black and Married with Children that I had followed years before. And I did the TSP when they did it for COVID online. He had Les Brown. It was a great 3 days. I was on that call and listening in. I was excited. And then when it was June 2021, I went to the first in-person event. And y'all, I saw that price tag. And I was like, heart palpitations, right? I started sweating. I was like, oh Lord, how much is this? But then I sat there and I said, dang, but he got the blueprint. He know what to do. He even said stuff that I know is the truth. And I know Paris know what I'm talking about because we have the same coach. I just was like, but what is the cost if I don't do it? Y'all, I paid, I think, our first go round was $25,000. We pay monthly. Okay. No, we pay monthly. $25,000. And again, I was having heart palpitations, y'all. Like, oh my God. But literally, I joined in June, and before the end of the year, there was no question that I had made my money back, if not 10 times more. Because by the end of the year, I did the sellout for the 2-week sellout for the resort, and then was able to reach within a year, reach $1 million plus. Okay. So it's definitely worth it. 2 roads: stay stuck or step up. Stay stuck or step up. The hard way, I'm figured out later. Leaving money on the table. It'll be more painful. The faster way, a coach that already knows it. The 3 P's are, again, ironclad, more profitability, and more fun. You show up calm and confident CEO. Is this making sense to y'all? Tell me, is it making sense in the comments? Paris, can you tell, did you have heart palpitations when you joined? Did you have heart palpitations, Paris? She said yes. Oh, yes. It was a real investment for sure. But it was worth it. It really was. Absolutely. Like, I have absolutely no regrets. And when I was able to, when our company was able to go to scale to 7 figures, and I was able to get into the higher tier program that was like 15,000 more, it was even more worth it. Okay. Okay. Now I want you guys to give me permission to help you find success, to help you get your travel business, your group travel business, to where you have been looking for it to be. Okay. Because this is exactly what we're about to do. Anybody ready? Y'all give me permission. Permission in the chat. Give me permission. Yes or no? Yeah, I done moved my office to upstairs where I can like see outside. I did not know my cul-de-sac was this busy. I did not know. Okay. So the three-piece framework for the group trip accelerator is only $598. It is 2 days, September 5th and 6th. We're going deep, deep, deep into the CEO math. You're walking away with your first launch completely finished. I give homework. Ask them. Brenda was like, I know you lying. You a real teacher for real. Homework. I get homework because I want you guys to walk away with everything done. So then you can see, oh, this makes sense. This is when laughing. This is what I need to do. Because again, this process, the 3Ps, you'll have everything together before you leave. Okay. You'll get the calendar is included with it. And we have 4 follow-up coaching calls. I think our first coaching call is coming up next week. I think it is our first one for the first 2 groups that took the class. You will not be disappointed. This gave me a new framework to scale my business. Oh, Teresa, I forgot you was here. Yeah, see, like it is, y'all, and it's not something I'm telling you that someone else told me. No, this is something that I personally did to move my business. We were stuck in that low 6s for probably 4 years. 4 years. I was stuck in that low 6s until I'm like, oh, this really works. So, and I do random check-ins. I just was in Roz's inbox. Me and Vicky had a call. I might just, jump in your inbox or jump in the group and like, hey, like what's going on? Like what you got going on? What do you need help? And then, that's just me. That's who I've always been though. Okay. So it's $598 for the 2-day session. It is virtual. I learned that virtual is easier for everybody because I'm an in-person kind of girl. I'm an in-person kind of girl for real. But I learned that virtual is what people are really looking for. But yes, you will check. How can I afford this? How can you not? I'm telling you, the plan works and you will start seeing results if you are consistent and persistent. Okay? What if I fail before? We ain't worried about that because we're not worried about failing no more because you're going to have a system, a framework that you can go by time and time again and stop guessing. How many times have you or has anyone ever attended a class or purchased a course or anything like that and you left and you were like, where do I even start? Like where do you feel like, wait a minute, I was the Google download, buy a course. If I went through my email or my external drive to see how many courses I done bought and how many downloads I done had, and then like ain't do nothing with it because I really couldn't figure out how to really do it because they really didn't tell me for real what to do, or you have to kind of like guess like between the lines what they was talking about. This ain't that. I could say that. I don't know. The spreadsheet, not yet. Not yet. But it's coming. The spreadsheet is coming. I just want to make sure that I've only had it really for like a month. So I want to make sure that it is conducive to really what I wanted to be. And she said, child, listen, yeah, I was the Google download, the Amazon, oh no, not Amazon, what you call it? YouTube queen. All of the things I did all of that. Okay. What if I don't have an audience or any tech skills? Now, you really don't need tech skills, but I'm going to show you how to build your audience while you're doing this. Because, yes, you may be brand new. You may not have an audience. You may have a very small audience, but even a small, like, you got to start. You got to crawl before you walk, right? Because you're not going to come into the business with 20,000 people in your community. And again, you don't need that many people to have a profitable business. You do not. You do not. I'm telling you, you don't. I told you we were still, now we weren't able to pay ourselves, but we were still able to have our business to grow and be sustainable year after year, even with about 2,000 people um, in our community. On the 5th, it starts at 9 Central, 10 Eastern. Okay, again, it's $598. I wrote those little things on there, but I wrote it down here too. But this is just the 3 piece process is what is on here. But hold on, I need to grab the link. But if you anyone who registers by tomorrow at 11:59 p.m., it's only $498. Okay, so let me grab the link. Thought I'd saved it, but I did not. Again, I don't like these classes to be really big because we do like in-depth work. We do each person has a turn. So each person comes to the front of the class and we get all your stuff done for you. Like every single one of you has a turn to come to the front of the class and we work out your plan for you. Hold on. Stop sharing. Put the link in the chat. Then I can share it. You do not need a code. There we go. You don't need a code. It's automatically $498 until tomorrow at 11:59. Can you back to my slide? Yep, hold on. What if you don't have an audience? Is that the one, Monica?
The one after that.
Go the other way or this way? Or this one?
That one right there.
This is giving you numbers on what type of profit you can have during this framework. So as you can see up there, phase 1, the poll, you will use the data to design offers your audience actually wants, eliminate wasted time, energy, and money on unbookable trips, create interest lists before you even finalize the itinerary. Your profit potential in this phase is $2,000 to $10,000. Why is that? Launching without this often means zero return. With it, you can get pre-validated trips that generate immediate bookings at the end, right? Because you're giving them exactly what they asked for. Again, like, you don't want people like, oh, I want to come with me to, my birthday trip to Jamaica and you putting it out and you getting crickets when you've asked them exactly what they want and then you've taken them through that process of what they asked for and now they're excited to purchase that. That is, the framework this is in. So that is what this is saying. Then phase 2 is the prime transformation. Trust that sells. You don't just show up and say, here's a trip. You prepare your audience to want it before it drops. Okay? In this phase, you warm your audience into strategic storytelling. You build anticipation and urgency. And you shift from cold followers to hot, ready to book. Your profit potential in this phase is 5,000 to 25,000. Why? A primed audience converts at significantly higher rates than a cold audience. One well-nurtured launch can 3 to 5 times your booking profit. And we got to remember, so when you're going through the launch phase, and I'll talk about that in 1 second. When you're going through the launch phase, you're inviting people to your launch. You're deciding, I know you ain't gonna do like we do no 7-day launch because Lord help us all. But if that's what you want to do, cool. But I suggest a 2 or 3 day launch, giving them all the information about the experience, the transformation, and all of that, telling your story. A lot of people, when we talked about this during our challenge, some people were nervous about their story, and then we're like, okay, tell it. But your story is your story, and that's what people want to hear, right? They want to know why you started your business. What is the reason you started your business? And telling your story is a very good way to indoctrinate people into your community and to for them to get to know, like, and trust you. So, but that launch, should be 2 to 3 days long, and it should really help you to get them over that hump. Okay. Okay, Gwen. Have a good Saturday. And then your purchase, your purchase phase. Most agents, when they launch, you won't. You'll launch like a CEO. Execute a profitable, repeatable launch plan. Use urgency, clarity, and follow up to close the sale. And then stop leaving money on the table from ghosted leads and unclear call to actions. Okay? The profit potential is 10 to 50,000 when you're doing it this way. Why? A well-executed launch with a 3K package, right? Your package is 3K. You got 10 travelers. That's 30 in revenue. With the proper profit margins, that could mean $10,000 in net profit. So just think about it again. If you have a 10K, you got $1,000 markup on each trip, and you have 10 people. That's $10,000 in profit. And you have 10 trips, that's 100. So just thinking about it that way, and knowing that you can do that, and you can do it, a rinse and repeat. Okay, that, yes. And the framework allows you to repeat it multiple times a year. Like I told y'all, I felt like I was always launching, because I was. And I noticed when I didn't. I noticed when I didn't launch. I noticed when I didn't. Okay? So again, by 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow, if you book by then, it's $100 off. No code needed. It's automatically done for you there. And now I got Q&A. Y'all got questions? I know you do. Yay, LaShawn. Let's go then. I'm thinking about, will you do one-on-one support in the class? Absolutely. Ask the ladies. We definitely did one-on-one support. Each person has their own time. We go, like, your homework is going to be, come to me with you can either come with a trip that you already have, you're planning, or we can do a pretend trip, a pseudo trip, but we're going to get the entire process done. You're going to have your poll phase complete. You're going to know what you need to do to prime. We're going to talk about your schedule, because y'all ask them, did they have to give me their timeline? Sure did. They have to give me their timeline. They have to tell me when you're going to start your strategy And when are you launching? In the poll phase, will you give us what to ask? Yep. I'll show you guys. Yep. Yep. Like we're not getting off. You're not gonna say, "Oh, I'm gonna do it." No, I need dates. We're gonna hold each other accountable. I can 10 September. Do you know if you're offering in October? I will have it again in October. I will have the dates in the next few weeks. But yes, it will be again in October. I will definitely think it over. Okay, Francis. And make sure you stay connected to the community. Um, so that you can see everything that's coming up. And don't forget, y'all, and do not forget that the Bali fam is next April. I'm only taking 10. I'm only taking 10 people because we're gonna have a strategy session just like this so that you all can this is how we're gonna poll, this is how we're gonna prime, this is how we're gonna launch for Bali. And we're doing that while we're in Bali because I want you all to leave. You'll have content. We're going to bring someone with us that's going to have the photos. They're going to have videos that we can use for our marketing, for our marketing, for our emails. All of that, we'll be able to use the content that they're creating for us to use to market. Okay. And it's April 11th through the 19th of next year. So we are planning to come to LA together on the 10th and leave out of LA on 11 p.m. flight. And that'll get us to Bali on the 13th, I think, in the morning. What time was that flight getting there, y'all? I can't remember. But we're all gonna meet up in LA on the 10th, then leave together on the 11th. And we're looking at Singapore Air to do it. But yeah, it's going to be 10 of us. It's going to be dope. And we leaving there with a full plan to sell Bali out. And I even gave Miss Brenda a new plan because she already launched her Bali. And I'm like, baby, listen, we're gonna have you come in, we're gonna relaunch, and it's gonna be fire. That's how I be in people inbox. I'm like, ooh, I just thought about when they say I got my space. Yep. Anybody got questions? I don't know if I'm gonna send a replay. I'll decide. I'll decide by tomorrow. If I do it, it's gonna be on YouTube. It'll be on YouTube because it's hard to email you guys. So I'll share the YouTube. Any other questions, guys? Is the worksheet included? Yes, the worksheet is included with the accelerator. Yep. You get the worksheet. You'll get a copy of the worksheet and a video on exactly how to navigate it. I had to have the guy to create me a video because I know he was sick of me. Like, this don't work. This ain't working, sir. I need you to show me. So he did a video, and so you guys will get the access to the video on exactly how to use it too. And I made sure that I went over it after that video to make sure it worked. I'm like, yep. It works. Anything else? What are these people cooking in my house? I don't know. I smell food cooking. No other questions? Okay. So again, it's tomorrow. You have until tomorrow, 11:59 to book at the 498 rate. I cannot wait to teach it. Again, I love teaching. We're going to have all day. We're going to go through every aspect so that it can be broken down and you guys can see exactly how each phase works. And then you'll walk away with your very first launch fully planned, even if it's not your very first launch under 3P. And we'll be going. This is good time here for Black Friday. Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Okay. All right. If you guys have questions, you can definitely put them in the group. You can email us info at travelsuccessconsulting.com and I will get back to you guys. Thank you, Tabitha. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see y'all in the accelerator classroom. Later.